Hey guys, welcome to Get Busy Watching! I'm your host, Honest Dan. Let's talk movies. Welcome to my rapid fire animation / family adventure edition. Let's get started. The Red Ribbon Army is trying to come back, and no, only Piccolo and Gohan stand in their way of world domination. This is the dream come true kind of Dragon Ball story that I've always wanted. But in a few other ways, it's one I've already gotten and not done better. Gohan has always been my favorite character, so to see this story embracing him as the penultimate protector of Earth was a treat. Legacy characters are the name of the game this go-around, and it's a hell of a nice breather away from Goku, whom has a single cameo. The problem is, this particular story is just an abridged version of the Cell games. So abridged that Dragon Ball Z Kai may as well look like the original 5-minute, 9-episode destruction of Namek. 2 nigh impossibly powerful androids, 1 super android that's basically a dumb kaiju version of semi-perfect Cell, and Gohan achieves a new form. What are we calling this one, kiddies? Super Mystic Gohan? Even Piccolo gets a new form. Actually, that was legit rad. Some characters get the wrong kind of development, others not enough, and some of the meta stuff doesn't work. But as per usual, the action is awesome, which is all that matters for a lot of people, including me, and the themes of what it means to be a hero are done well enough. Oh shit, it's called Gohan Beast? Well, that's a terrible name. It's Dragon Ball. It's a lot of fun, if not a bit bloated in characters, and the writing can be pretty inconsistent, but I think it's worth checking out. My honest rating for Dragon Ball Super Superhero, a 4 out of 5.
Is that all the power you've got? It won't be enough to win you this fight.
God Emperor Disney's live-action remake of their classic animated original. Nuff said. To all of you who said that this was a soulless remake, where were all of you when The Lion King came out? This is not the worst one. Not by a lying nose mile. But it still sucks. There are some changes to the original story that I approve of. Pinocchio actually going to school, only to be kicked out because he's not a real boy. Even the famous moral of not lying or your nose will grow is given a welcome twist. That lying can get you out of trouble, so long as it's for a good reason. The only song that stands out is Luke Evans' bit as the coachman to Pleasure Island. That was a lot of fun. And Monstro isn't a whale, but a whale-like sea monster. Hell, I don't even mind the ending, which is a major departure. But no, none of these make the movie good. Despite an 80-year difference in advanced animation technology, Pinocchio is remarkably less emotional and engaging, and is annoying. The Blue Fairy is a chore to get through. The tone is all over the place, making Geppetto have a dead wife and son? Jeez. Neither Stromboli nor Lampy turning into a donkey are remotely as terrifying as the original. Pleasure Island has no edge, i.e. no smoking or drinking beer, but has random-ass smoke monsters. Explain that one. But the worst of all, Pinocchio is never genuinely tempted into doing bad things, negating the entire point of his story. Despite the fact I don't necessarily hate it, I would never watch this again. Maybe the Coachman song and the bits with Monstro. But beyond all that, this movie is that temple of shit. Please get it away from me. My honest rating for God Emperor Disney's Pinocchio, a weak 3 out of 5.
An aimless vagabond hopping from hearth to hearth with no direction, no job, no prospects, and no purpose.
Jon Stewart is given a Green Lantern ring that he doesn't want, but gets caught up in an intergalactic war that is connected to the total annihilation of Oa and the Green Lantern Corps. Certainly not WAG's best work, but oh damn do I want another one like this all the same. Because I grew up on the Bruce Timm Justice League show, the Green Lantern that I know best is John Stewart, not Hal Jordan. So that he's the centerfold of this story is sheer delight. And voiced by Aldous Hodge, who'd go on to play Hawkman in Black Adam, dude, this movie earned a serious cool status from me. As well as the inclusion of Hawkgirl, one of my favorite DC heroines, bro. WAG loves me. As to be expected from a WAG flick, the action is solid this go around. Nothing too crazy. The story is legit intriguing and provides a good twist later on. As for the negatives, it starts off a little too similar to Hal Jordan's backstory. Almost copy and paste. John gets a little too capable against seasoned villains later on, and certain plot beats could have used a lot more fleshing out for the emotions to really land. Generally speaking, I don't care much for Green Lantern, but I do have a soft spot for John Stewart. I definitely want another one with him. And a budding romance with Hawkgirl, just saying. But no, for real, this is fun. My honest rating for Green Lantern Beware My Power, a 4 out of 5.
Beware my power. Green Lantern's light.
Phew. Is it just me, or is there something going on between those two? Will Green Lantern ever admit to his feelings? Will Hawkgirl ever stop sublimating her passions with that big honkin' mace? Will true love conquer all? Not on my show.
The witchy Sanderson sisters are back thanks to a pair of teenage girls who resurrected them on accident, and now they're scrambling to stop them from achieving immortality. As someone who didn't see the original until way later in life, I didn't think it was that good. And now, in the present day, I hear that the sequel is terrible. And I gotta say, I didn't think it was that bad. I genuinely don't know where the intense hate comes from. Midler, Parker, and Najimy are as kooky as they were all those years ago, clearly having a blast playing these cartoonish witches. Are they especially funny? Not really, but they're fun to watch and see bounce off of each other. Though I have my complaints about a lack of Sarah Jessica Parker cleavage. Damn you sensitive modern twats! Actually, that cleavage probably isn't as nice now as it was back then. But still, there's a cartoonish charm that I found amusing for the most part, and even aims for some emotions that I found surprisingly effective. The only weaknesses are with the good guy characters. No one is especially offensive or annoying, at least not until the third act, where their stupidity is front and center over personal conflict that no one cares about. There's also some missed opportunities involving a witch that taught Winifred her magic that never makes an appearance again. It's not especially funny or risque and can be a little annoying in key areas, but overall, I don't have the same problems with it as everyone else does. It's cute, fun, kid movie nonsense. My honest rating for Hocus Pocus 2, a 3 out of 5.
Who are they performing for? You!
Desperate to make her life better with her family, Princess Giselle makes a wish to make the world around her more fairy tale-like, but it has dire consequences. Everyone working on this thing somehow forgot that the OG was a satire of Disney princesses. This is just a fan fiction come to life, and it's not nearly as fun. The sad matter is that God Emperor Disney has created a damned ocean worth of new tropes that beg to be made fun of. But of course, they wouldn't do that because their modern tropes are empowering for modern audiences. What we get is Shrek 4, or Cinderella 3, and all the predictable plot beats that go with it, and just doesn't work. Even throwing in an evil Giselle. Make no mistake, it's clear that Amy Adams and Maya Rudolph are having a blast, yucking it up during their villain duet. And in another movie, this would have been downright hilarious. And certainly the concept of two villains vying for complete control hasn't really been done before and deserves to be seen. But not in this movie. Oh, and get this load. Rachel Covey played Morgan in the first one, but is now played by Gabriella Baldacchino. Apparently, it was an age thing, She's 24 as of 2022, but Baldacchino is 21, only 3 years younger. Can someone help the House of Rat find a goddamn brain cell? The timing was perfect for a new Enchanted movie, but it was too much to hope for that it would be a parody of modern Disney. Instead, it would tarnish the legacy of a severely underrated classic by going on to be a generic fairy tale that's been done a million times outside of the God Emperor's empire. Not recommended. My honest rating for Disenchanted, a week 3 out of 5.
What happens at midnight?
On the last stroke of 12, the spell is set and nothing will be as it was before. It means...
Song inside you that your memory seems to know. Let it grow. Let it glow.
No! Don't even try it, Adele Dazeem! I see what you're trying to do! A young boy and his mother have fallen on hard times. In an effort to make their situation better, he is whisked away to a magic island to save an enslaved dragon that might help him. Man, this had the potential to be a really great animated flick, but it's held back by some wonky-ass writing and lame characters. I understand what the story was going for. Elmer stresses his mom over idealistic promises she made, only to be let down. As the story progresses, Boris becomes Elmer's Elmer and annoys him. You understand that Elmer has to learn what it means to have responsibilities, and Boris is the ignorant one. The problem is that Boris is too annoying, and Elmer is too mean-spirited, despite both Gaten Matarazzo and Jacob Tremblay doing wonderful jobs. While that cripples the movie some, it's far from unredeemable. The animation, while simplistic, is expressive and effective, especially at the end where I got legit choked up. The voice cast is incredible, including Whoopi Goldberg, Judy Greer, Chris O'Dowd, Jackie Earle Haley, and more? Dude, how deep were these pockets? Truly the strongest moments of the movie are the unorthodox places, the beginning and the end, which goes against all of storytelling structure, but that's kind of a good thing, if not a unique thing. This is the definition of a movie that's greater than the sum of its parts. It isn't the best animated flick out there, but it is worth its weight in art where it counts, and that means a lot in a kid's movie. My honest rating for My Father's Dragon, a strong 3 out of 5.
My name is Elmer.
Of course you have a cool name like that. My name's Boris. Not as cool, but it goes with my face.
A musical animated adaptation of the timeless Charles Dickens novel about Ebenezer Scrooge and the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future. I had my reservations before going in because, well, this story's been done to death. Thankfully, it's not that bad, and actually quite enjoyable. The animation style isn't anything to write home about, at least not until you get to the meat of the story, which is the more fantastical elements, the ghosts of time. The character designs for past and future are wonderful, with only present looking like Santa at the Roman Colosseum for some reason. The candle wax design of past was a lot of fun in her aesthetics, and future has a proper balance of having complete neutrality while also being imposing and scary. The music isn't bad, though can easily be forgotten once you've moved on, with the notable exception of the song Later Never Comes, a duet with Luke Evans, and thank you Ireland for giving us this extraordinary talent, Jessie Buckley. It's full of emotion, power, and legit tugs on your heartstrings. By the way, I never read the original book. I don't remember a romantic interest in Scrooge's past. Is that unique to this movie? My only true complaints are how Ebenezer is portrayed in the beginning, almost too giddy in collecting money from the townsfolk. I usually associate him with being a no-nonsense businessman rather than a straight-up douchebag. Too unlikable at first. And it does feel like there's some unnecessary comedy thrown in from time to time, trying a little too hard to be a kid's movie. If you're all for the Christmas Carol story, then there's just enough creativity here to make it worth your time. Is it the best iteration of this story? Probably not, but for what it was, I enjoyed myself. If you have Netflix, I recommend it. My honest rating for Scrooge, A Christmas Carol, a 4 out of 5.
Merry Christmas.
After losing his young son in a bombing raid, woodcarver Geppetto carves a wooden puppet in drunken grief, which eventually is gifted life by a mysterious spirit and given the name Pinocchio. The puppet soon goes on a harrowing journey to discover what it means to be a real boy. Oh, thank God it's good! And not just good, it's dark. It's got edge to it. And despite it being a real departure from the story that we all know and love, it still works within the frame that Guillermo del Toro has created. What I adore is how this hits similar beats to the House of Rats, but does it infinitely better, really fleshing out Geppetto's relationship with his dead son and the ultimate creation of Pinocchio. I can only assume this detail is in the original book that I never read. Even Pinocchio himself is kind of unlikable in the beginning, as he's destructive, disobedient, openly saying so, making you think you might not like this character. But because Del Toro pulls out incredible writing from time to time, the wooden boy is carefully and slowly given a real arc. I suppose if I had just one complaint, it would be that there are certain elements that are introduced that don't really get a payoff later on. Specifically for this boy at a military camp for children that Pinocchio meets. There's a lot of drama that happens there, and you just don't get to see what happens to this specific character later on. Guillermo del Toro knocks it out of the park, and outdoes the House of Rat in every conceivable way. If you need a palate cleanser after the unbearable taste that God Emperor Disney put in your mouth, definitely watch this instead. It is far and away the superior flick. My honest rating for Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, a strong 4 out of 5.
Obey?
Do as you're told.
But I don't want to obey.
Well,
thanks so much for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. Have a great day. Stay safe and healthy out there. Hope to see you soon.